Is it as hard as we think it is to hire right now? I figured let's talk to someone on the front line. I talked to Ted White, a recruiter, and let's find out. This is a bonus episode of The Business of Tech. So, Ted, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Dave, for having me on.
So, tell me about you and your organization.
I am a recruiter. I have 22 years of experience, and I spent some time in corporate, and now we are a small boutique recruiting firm that focuses on recruiting system admins, engineers, and technicians with MSP experience for MSPs around the country.
So, I've heard the word headhunter and the word recruiter. Are they the same thing, or is there a difference that I should know about?
That's a nice question. Yeah. Dave, I started off as a recruiter, and then I went into being getting trained as a headhunter back in 2000 or 2001 even. And the difference there is that as a recruiter, I guess you're working with applicants that show interest. As a headhunter, you're going after people that are not looking for new opportunities, that are not expecting to hear from you, that you build a relationship with, and ultimately provide them a really awesome career option for. So, kind of to get to your point, what we do is more headhunting than recruiting, quite honestly. We don't work with job postings or anything like that.
Okay, gotcha. So there isn't like that you have some magic database of people that you're offering out to organizations. You're specifically going and finding them. Kind of how does that process work on your side?
That's very good. So we do have a database that we add to daily. It grows quite a bit. However, we do target and focus our network on a specific smaller number of people, and we follow up with them until we can talk with them and entice them with a better opportunity. Now, the database is used to as a reference of history, conversations with previous candidates, and relationships, and in a way to kind of remind candidates that we have talked before and that we're still around.
Gotcha. So how do you generally work with like IT services companies and MSPs? Like, how does that relationship start, and what does it look like?
It's funny, Dave. We use LinkedIn quite a bit to as a resource for our recruiting. And back in 2019, I was interested in getting involved in business development. We weren't really doing a lot of it. I looked into SEO. That was expensive and a long-term return on investment. So we learned how to do some digital marketing using LinkedIn, and what it boiled down to is that we're just recruiting customers the same way that we recruit candidates. So we do this outreach to customers, and we tell them who we are, and we get these new customers on a call. We get them referred to us, through different channels, and we discuss what their needs are from a hiring and recruiting perspective. And we take an overall picture of what we want to do, but we kind of morph that and mold it to what the customer is used to, and then work on an agreement. Timelines and communications. We're very structured in our process, so we line things up nice and neat, and the communication is always there between the customer and my team. Um, Typically, what we do is work with the candidates directly. We have the tough conversations around salary and things like that, and we take it all the way from start to finish with making the offer and having the offer accepted at the end when the customer would like to hire the person.
Gotcha. And you're just taking full job descriptions from the MSPs and the IT services companies, and then they've described it, and then you go find them, or how does that process work?
We don't need job descriptions, Dave, because the MSPs, they typically look for similar people. We constantly have a pipeline of candidates that we reach out to all throughout the country, because at any given time, we could come up with a customer in Omaha, or we've got a lot of presence now in the greater Chicago area. So we always want to have our pipeline of system and network engineers, system administrators, and technicians available. We specifically look for those who are not job hoppers, and specifically look for those who have MSP experience, because statistics say most MSPs want candidates with MSP experience. So chances are good, especially for the companies who are hiring remotely. We already have their candidates.
Okay. So I hear all the time how difficult it is to find people with MSP experience, but you're doing it. Is that true? Is that a true reality of the market? How hard is it to find those kinds of people?
It is very hard. However, when you focus on it and you leverage the tools that are available, especially, with LinkedIn, there's a little trick that we kind of figured out using two different tools in LinkedIn to dig deeper into finding candidates with MSP experience. And it goes along with our business development expertise using the tool as well.
Okay. We're recording this summer 2022, and the stories I've been reporting on the show have been about the tightening of the labor market, how much more power employees and potential employees have right now, how much control over that is. It was already difficult to find MSPs. How are you finding conditions on the ground right now for hiring? Like, how much control do candidates have during the process now?
I had a feeling you'd ask that question, so I came a little prepared on that one. Um, so what we're finding for the companies that can see, what's happening and feel it every day like we do, the ones who are prepared and are being proactive are taking a look at their top performers in their organization and on recommendations that we have and that they collectively have as organizations, and saying, all right, let's take care of our top performers right now before they jump ship. Let's make sure that they have, not only the salary that's required at market right now, but the career growth, the technical skills, the upskilling internally. Now that leaves room for maybe lower performers to take a look at the market, maybe medium-sized performers take a look at the market, and if they get contacted by a headhunter, they keep their options open a little bit more than those higher performers. However, when we're recruiting, we're going after those higher performers and we're building the relationship, and we, want to be able to present better opportunities to them, to MSPs that are ready and willing to, cater to these higher end, prospects.
All right, I'm going to press for some specifics. Are we talking about 10% more salaries, 20% more salaries? Is this benefit focused? Like, what are candidates demanding and getting right now?
Okay. So a lot of them want the next step in their career. We're noticing that when we discuss salaries on the first, second, and every touch point, when there's interest, the candidates, the really savvy ones, are then saying, well, this is great. It seems like this company is looking for more than they originally wanted, or originally more than they even know they need. So instead of the salary that I'm expecting, which is usually about a 10 or 15% increase, to answer your question,
Okay.
and sometimes 20, they start there. In some cases, build a case that says, "Hey, this sounds like a larger role, and I'm expecting a salary that's much much bigger." So the candidates are certainly jumping for those opportunities where they can kind of prove themselves, showcase their skills and their leadership if they know they have the strength there. But in general, I'd say that there's about a 15 to 20% salary disparity between those employees who have not been corrected yet, or have not moved to another company.
Okay. So that's salary, but we all both know that total comp is larger than that. What are the other things that are going into that? What other benefits are they looking for right
Yeah,
now?
so they, to answer that part of the question, they are looking for the career growth. Benefits, it kind of depends on the generation. Newer generation might be looking for more purpose than salary. So our customers who are kind of traditional in, putting salary on a pedestal, or putting even their offer letter on a pedestal, we want to shift them. If it's an earlier career candidate, we want to shift them more toward their company purpose and how that person is going to be able to add to the company purpose going forward. That is the bigger driver for the earlier career set of candidates.
Okay, I want to press into that. Like, so what are some of the specific questions candidates are asking around purposes of organization?
Yeah, well, right now, flexibility is all the rage. Candidates tend to expect that they hear a lot about remote hiring, and they tend to, expect that a company is going to offer a remote role of some type, or maybe even hybrid. The reality is that the entry level, or the 1 to 2 year career people, they might have to kind of bite the bullet on the remote or the hybrid, situations for a little bit to prove themselves, to learn new technology on the ground, on site with customers, before they become a remote asset to the company, guiding newer career people to do what they were doing.
Are they asking about corporate values? Like, are they asking about what's important or where they fit into the value system of the org?
No, the candidates with 10, 15 years of experience, they're not as, of course, during the interview process, they get information on values of the company. If most of our customers are value oriented, so they say, here are our core values, and usually it resonates with the candidates that we come up with. So, to kind of back up a little bit, if we have somebody who, has all the experience and everything, but their mindset isn't in the right place, if they're not just looking for a better career, but they just want more money and it's more about them, then we put a pause on those candidates, and we put them on the back burner until they're more ready. What we do is select the ones who are, great people, have great skills, and want to progress in their career. So by the time they get to me and we move them over to the customer, those conversations aren't as awkward as they would be as if we would present those other candidates who are going to say, what's in it for me?
So, what's the biggest challenge you're seeing right now for recruiting, for finding people, and for working in this space?
Yeah, there is an overabundance of candidates getting contacted by recruiters, headhunters right now. And the challenge is, to make sure that we're not overdoing it, not being those headhunters or recruiters that are, following up with people too often or too much or bothering anybody, but doing it the right way. With the marketing and the business development that I've done, I've learned that if you're selling, you got to stop selling. If you're selling, you're not selling, basically. So we just get right to the point and say, hey, we're working with the company. Your background in these 3 things popped up. Would you like to know more information?
Talk to me a little bit so that owners get a sense of how the cost structures work without necessarily getting into exact figures. What kind of sense of how are they paying for services like yours to help find people?
Right out of the gates, I would say that the smaller MSPs that we work with, under 250, we charge 20% of base salary for the person that's hired.
So what is the number one thing you wish the MSPs knew before they started working with someone like you?
Keep an open mind. There's a lot of stuff out there that we do on a daily basis that would probably surprise a lot of business owners on how much effort and work, planning, strategy, and thinking, in general, goes on with mapping out and finding these candidates and doing it in an efficient manner.
Cool. Well, Ted, if people are interested in learning more, how can they get in touch?
Best way to reach me is they can do email or my LinkedIn profile. Again, they can email me at ted@vertasol.com. That's VERTALSOL.com.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me
Dude,
today.
thank you.
Thanks for your time and attention. Time is a finite resource, and I really value you giving me some of yours. If you like this video, you can let me know with a like of the video, and even more valuable, hitting the subscription button. My content is all free, and I use metrics like subscriptions to pay the bills, so it has real value. The content here is produced under ethics guidelines posted at businessof.tech. If you're interested in more content like this, you can get access to content early via our Patreon at patreon.com/MSPradio. It's our give what you want model where you set the value of what you think the content is worth. If you like this podcast, you can catch it daily as the 5-minute news and commentary show, The Business of Tech. Available on all your favorite podcatchers with links at businessof.tech. Just hit that big blue button to subscribe. Again, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen, and I really value the interaction. If you want to say something in the comments, I do respond and watch all that, and I look forward to talking to you next time.